Welcome to the Nintendo Dads, episode 559, recorded on December 21st, 2025. On this week's holiday episode, with my special guest, Sophie, my daughter, 0IDK0, we talk about the first 6 months of Nintendo Switch 2 and getting ready for 2026 as far as games go. Jesse, wait. Jesse's not here. I have to do the music. So Jesse is not here, but Tim, you know what to do. I just got to get to that button. There we go. And there it is. That's the intro. And I'm not going to have it play in the background because I can't do all that right now, juggling. I can just play it. I can't do the Jesse stuff. That's what Jesse gets paid the big bucks for. But here we are with Nintendo Dads, episode 559 on December 21st. It is about what, 5 days early? Because Thursday is December 25th, and all the dads are going to be doing something for Christmas, obviously, with their families. So I opted to jump in and do a solo episode for the first time ever. But I'm not solo. My daughter, Sophie, said, "Hey, I'll join you, keep you company, even though I probably won't talk much. I'll still keep you company." So thanks for joining, Sophie. How is your week so far? How's life going? How's being a 20 something going?
It's pretty good,
Yeah.
but I'm very broke right now.
Yeah, I remember those days being broke and young
Mhm.
and broke. So
Mhm.
I remember those. So are you looking forward to Christmas?
Yes,
Yeah,
very excited.
cool. What do you hope Santa brings you? You still
I
believe in
hope
Santa Claus,
Santa
right?
brings me
You hope
I
Santa.
hope Santa brings me so many Legos.
Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
Gotcha. Well, I hope he brings you Legos too.
Mhm.
And we know what Sammy wants. He wants everything that is not Legos. He wants an electric bike. He wants
Yes.
PSVR 2. He wants a Switch
Yep.
2. He wants
Switch to
he just wants all kinds of he wants all the expensive stuff, right?
yeah. An
So
iPhone.
he wants an iPhone now? That's a new one to me.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. A new one I heard was a digital camera. He wants a digital camera now.
I've never heard that one.
That one was new. All right. So with Christmas coming up, I hope everybody is getting ready for that and you are enjoying this shorter episode of Nintendo Dads without the other dads. However, we are going to hear from the other dads in regards to our topic for this week, which is going to be the first 6 months of the Nintendo Switch 2, and us getting ready for 2026 as far as gaming goes. So we'll talk about that with how I feel about the Switch 2, how it's been going the first 6 months. We'll talk to Sophie about why she opted not to get one a little bit. So we'll get that perspective. Other than probably being broke, we know that, but still. We know Sammy wants a Switch 2, but obviously he's also broke and can't just go and buy one. Um, but we'll hear some from other perspectives on the Switch 2 aspect of the first 6 months and why people are either up on it or down on it. We'll also kind of go over a few of the news bits and some rumors and a timeout that I have and some of the games we've been playing. So Sophie, you get to talk about a little bit some of the games you've been playing too.
Okay.
All right, let's jump into the news and we'll play a little soundbite, Sophie, that you probably can't hear. All right, everybody knows that's the news bumper, and that means we're going to jump into the news. And the news is brought to you by our our patreon.com at Nintendo Dads. So all of our fans over there, as well as our Twitch subscribers over there. So as little as $1 a month over at patreon.com or up to I think it's what, $3.99 if you want to be a Twitch subscriber. Or did they up it to $5.99? I can't remember the cost there anymore. Every now and then you get a good deal on that though too. But if you're a Twitch subscriber or a Patreon subscriber, you get access to our ad-free version of this show, which is posted both in our Patreon and in our Discord. And also, if you are a subscriber in either of those areas, you get access to our Discord and all of these neat features that we get there. A shout out to our newest Patreon subscribers, Gamer Nerd 78 and Stephen Von Sullis. Uh, thank you both for joining in our Discord or joining in on our subscriptions, and hopefully you'll be getting those notifications to be able to come join us in our Discord and get access to all these wonderful things. And thank you for everybody who supports us one way or another through Patreon, whether it's just subscribing to us with the funds that you're able to do, or just subscribing and sharing us in other areas, because that helps us get things that we normally couldn't get on our own, like Nintendo sending us codes and stuff. So thank you so much for that. So with that, we don't again this week have a lot of news to talk about. Other than the upcoming releases and updates, we know about releases coming in 2026 that we need to talk about. Out now, we got a Skyrim patch, which has a latency fix. A lot of people complain about that surprise Skyrim Nintendo Switch 2 edition game had some latency issues, but Bethesda has released a latency fix for that. So far we'll probably get a few more latency fixes, but it's a good start there. So if you haven't gotten your update yet, make sure you go get that. System Shock is coming or is out now on the Switch and Switch 2. That is a classic game that's been ported over. Another game called Layers of Fear, the final masterpiece, is out or will be out, if not out already, for the Switch 2. Other games that we're all looking forward to coming in 2026 is the Animal Crossing New Horizons Nintendo Switch 2 edition and update for Nintendo Switch 1 and 2 coming January 15th, 2026. Sophie, you excited about that one? Yeah.
I'm very excited about that one. Yes.
Yeah, that was we're all excited about that one in our household because that was a big
Mhm.
deal in 2020 for us to play, and even a year
Mhm.
or two after that. So we're looking forward to seeing what that's about, and we'll see how long that holds our attention after that update. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade is coming out January 22nd, and the demo is out as we talked about in our last show. And you can also see a first look on that as well on our YouTube channels. Cult of the Lamb Woolhaven DLC will be dropping on January 22nd as well. My wife is looking forward to that one. And then uh, we found out Dispatch is coming January 29th to Nintendo Switch and Switch 2. Dragon Quest VII Reimagined February 5th. Mario Tennis Forever February 12th. Resident Evil Generation Pack February 27th. Resident Evil Requiem by itself is also February 27th. Screamer, although not out on the Switch, is going to be out. It is a racing game I'm excited about that has some anime aesthetics to it. And so
Mhm.
I'm looking forward to checking out that racing game and also hoping that it comes to the Nintendo Switch too. Mega Man Star Force Legacy Collection comes out March 27th on the Switch. 007 First Light Switch 2 is coming out March 27th, 2026 as well. That a date was announced. South of Midnight, which is a game I played on Xbox Game Pass, but didn't get to finish, is coming out on the Switch 2 as well in spring 2026. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is coming out 2026. The Adventures of Elliot, the Millennium Tales 2026, and Mina the Howler is coming out 2030. That's what the new
Mm,
date says. But it's supposed to be out. We're still waiting to hear. Will it drop before the end of the year? They said it's supposed to be out by the end of the year. We don't know, but
2030 is
on the
crazy.
on the release date calendar from the Nintendo Switch store, it says 2030, which is
That's a
crazy.
while away.
That is a little bit away. So all those releases we'll be talking about. In fact, the Nintendo Dad's next episode with all the guys will be back on January 1st, where we will be talking about our top games for 2025. And we'll be going over the list and hopefully have all of your submissions for that top games of your 2025 list in our Discord. So if you haven't heard already in our last episode, we are collecting those lists. So we have the channel open in our Discord, Nintendo Dad's Discord, for top games 2025. Put them in there, and Jesse puts it in his, his supercomputer and crunches the numbers, and then we find out what the community's top 10 games are for the Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2 are for 2025. And then of course the dads talk about their specific 10, top 10. So Sophie, if you got a top 10, you can still submit any system, but we'll pull out if there's any Switch games, we'll pull those out if you happen to have any and add it to the list.
Okay.
All right. And again, don't forget to check out our YouTube channel for a lot of these games that may have first looks on it or reviews. If we haven't already got them out, they'll be coming shortly. All right. So let's talk about rumors next. So let's talk about that before we get into the let's discuss. That'll be a bigger one. So, da, da, da. Oh, you know what? There it is. I almost thought I didn't have that sound bite for that. So we didn't talk about this too much in the last episode, but publisher INN claims Nintendo now offers smaller Switch 2 game cartridges. Nintendo's made no official statement on that though, so this is still listed as a rumor. And I wanted to bring this up because it does bring up a good point that offering more choices for publishers potentially allows for more non-game keycard physical editions to come. So we know how much there's a lot of discourse on game key cards for the Nintendo Switch 2. Sophie, I don't know if you're aware of what that is, game key cards. Game key cards is
No clue.
basically it is a cart like this. Uh, I don't have a red one near me, but Nintendo
Yeah,
Switch
yeah.
2 carts are red. So
Mhm.
what comes on the cart is actually a key, and
Mhm.
so you use that key, you put this in your Switch, and it will actually download it digitally, just like if you were to use a code to download a game digitally, but instead you got it on a cart.
Mhm.
This allows you to put this in your Switch, download it digitally, and play it as if it was a digital version, but you have to use this as a key. So if you take this out of your Switch, you can't play the game. There's a lot of discourse in the community about that because it's like, what's the difference? Why should I waste my money on this when it's just a key when I could just download the digital version?
Mhm.
The pros to that is that you can still resell this. So if
Yeah.
it's a game key card, even though the game isn't entirely on this cart, you just put in
Mhm.
you just put this in, you get to download the game and you get to play it, and then if you're done, you can sell it and somebody else gets to do the same thing. It allows for bigger games also. So like right now, there's a capacity I think on the Switch 2 game cards of rumored 64 gigabytes. So if there's any bigger games or games that are bigger than that, then a manufacturer is more than likely to go with the game key card. But the other problem, there's the opposite effect because they only were selling one size. Again, I don't think we ever got an official amount, but it's 64 gigabytes on a game key card, or excuse me, on a physical card. You get 64 gigabytes. Some games aren't that big. You don't need all that 64
Mhm.
gigabytes. You may only need 1, 2, 3 gigs for those indie games. So it wasn't
Yeah.
fair for those indie developers to try to offer a physical version of those games and just leave all that empty space. So that's what the rumor is that Nintendo is offering smaller game card options for developers or publishers to be able to put their games on so that there's less game cards out there, game key cards. I hope I didn't miss any details there for anybody who might be confused on that because game key cards can be confusing. But that is the rumor right now that Nintendo is building or potentially going to offer that or has been starting to offer that. And there has been a leak that somebody had posted. One of the publishers had said something about that and they removed their tweet about it or their X post about it. And that's why there's that rumor that Nintendo is actually offering to do that. So, any thoughts on that, Sophie?
Well, I think it would be good. I haven't heard about it before, but it makes sense to have a smaller one.
Yeah,
Because, like you said, smaller games don't,
don't
like, I've played games where, like, yeah, it's only like 1 gig,
right. Yep,
one,
and
two, 3 gigs, like you said.
it'd be nice if too if it was all on one physical card because a lot of people don't have a lot of physical memory space or storage space
Yeah,
on their switches. So that'd be nice.
yeah.
Cool. All right. So let me before we jump into the let's discuss, let me do an ad read from our sponsor, Manscaped. Sophie, are you going to be okay with that? Because that's, you know what Manscaped is, right?
Yes,
So let
I've
me
heard you say of it
you heard me,
before.
yeah, you heard me say it all before. So, all right.
I
So,
have been like, what the heck, a couple of times.
yeah. Well, you get to hear it now. So, here we
Hmm.
go. Manscaped is also a sponsor of the Nintendo Dads, so we get to talk about Manscaped every now and then. And for the holidays, since they're here, it's time to give the gift of smoothness. Whether you're shopping for your partner, your brother, or yourself, we don't judge. Manscaped Performance Package 5.0 Ultra is the ultimate upgrade because nothing says happy holidays like a perfectly groomed package. From trimming to freshening up, this all in one grooming kit keeps you clean, confident, and ready for any festive occasion. So go ahead, unwrap confidence this season with Manscaped. Head over to manscaped.com and join over 13 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped. And I'll say this join any of those 13 million. It says 13 million men, but there's probably some millions in there or maybe beyond that they are telling us that are women buying these
Hmm.
for their men or even buying some of the products for themselves. So it's not just about all the men. Women out there, if you're listening to us, go to manscaped.com. Go check out their products. Maybe you want your man or your significant other checking these out, trying out these products. So if you do, go to manscaped.com and use NINDADS, NINDADS, for 15% off your entire code order, excuse me, or 20% off. Because right now, we keep hearing when everybody's getting 20% with our code. So that's what we used to get. So we'll stick with that. NINDADS, NINDADS, for 20% off your entire order at manscaped.com to where you could get the all-in-one grooming kit. You could get any of their shampoos or conditioners. There's lotions. There's aftershaves, I think. So there's a lot of different products that is out there, along with their Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra uh, trimmer that you can use, and their Weed Whacker for the ear, nose, and eyebrow trimmer. So all kinds of things, and there's also some free gifts that you get to do when you order the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra. So again, give the gift of smooth this holiday season with the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra. Get 20% off your entire order with code NINDADS at manscaped.com. That's again NINDADS for that 20% off at manscaped.com. All right, with that, now we get to jump back into let's discuss. I wish you could hear that, Sophie. I need to work on that. I tried playing it on a soundboard, but I think I blew out Sophie's ears.
It was so loud.
All right, so Switch, the first 6 months. We actually had the dinner table just recently, a couple days ago, and I asked a few of the people hanging out there at the dinner table what their thoughts were on the Switch 2 experience for the first 6 months. Uh, Spider Shan said better eShop experience, just the quickness of being able to go in there and view the games and buy games. But he was also surprised in the first 6 months, especially very early on in that first month or two, the lack of dev units that were sent out to a lot of the developers out there. So that's why we have this kind of delay in this buildup in games. So he mentioned those things. Ebicel mentioned should have done a new first party game for every month, like we did in the first year of the Switch. In 2017, it's probably going to be hard. it's hard for us not to compare it to that because it was such a great launch year. Uh, that year is when we got obviously day it dropped, the Switch launched. We got the Breath of the Wild. Um, and I'm not gonna remember all these in order, but we got Breath of the Wild, we got a Splatoon game, we got Arms, we got Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Uh, there's I know I'm missing something. Mario Kart, excuse me, Mario Odyssey happened in there at some point. A Xenoblade game. So there was a ton of games in there. I know there's a couple other ones, small indie games, and to the bigger ones that were kind of exclusive there, but lots of good stuff there. And a lot of people feel that Nintendo didn't match that same fire they had essentially, but it was a different experience because they were coming off a not so well received Wii U and wanting to switch gears over to Switch immediately. So this time, I think they were taking a step back and letting third parties, because that's always been a complaint of third parties, is Nintendo taking too much of the spotlight from them. So they probably were trying to do a balance of, okay, let's sprinkle in some third party games, whether they're triple A's, ports, or indie games, to kind of sprinkle those in or bring those in between some of our own first party games, which is not bad because we got Mario Kart World, we got Donkey Kong um, Bonanza. I couldn't think of the name for a minute there. Um, we got Pokemon Legends ZA, and then Metroid Prime 4 or Beyond. So 4 games within 6 months. I still think that's pretty good, but that's also Age of Imprisonment. So that's a Zelda game. That's 5 months. So although that was done by a third party, it still was in conjunction with Nintendo, so that helped kind of offset that we weren't going to get anything too close to having Tears of the Kingdom released 2 years ago. So, but 5 new games from Nintendo within the 6 months, still think is not that bad. Speaking of, I think I mentioned ARMS for that Switch One launch. Sam, third strongest mole from RetroLogic, mentioned that there's no ARMS game, so he was disappointed. So if anybody knows Sam, for third strongest mole, not my Sam, but RetroLogic Sam, he was huge into ARMS, and um, he was hoping for ARMS 2. I think a lot of people were.
I think
So
our Sam liked that game as well.
he did, yeah, and I think we
Yeah.
still have it somewhere. He doesn't
Mhm.
play it as much anymore, but
No.
um, so a lot of the comments we're going to hear too. I'm going to play the videos from each of the dads. I asked them to give me their impressions of the first 6 months, along with their impression as a gamer, not necessarily as a Nintendo dad, but as a gamer. So we'll hear from them. But before I do, Sophie, I wanted to ask you this question. You didn't get the Switch 2. Um, One, because it's obviously it would have been a big chunk of your money, of your income. Um,
Mhm.
but you didn't really say, "Hey, I want that for Christmas," like Sam is either. So,
Yeah.
um, but you kind of were kind of sitting back, like, "I'll wait for that. I'll jump on that maybe later," right? So,
Mhm.
what was your decisions on why you wanted to wait? Um, and again, priorities, obviously, but what was that thought as a gamer? Like, if you had the money, would you have still gotten it, or would you still wait for something? And what was that something?
I probably still would have waited.
Okay.
I don't think I mean, I like how it looks.
Mhm.
It's way bigger. I do like that, and I like the screen on it, but I'm fine with my OLED.
Yes. And there, you're not alone in that.
I
You are not alone in that.
Yeah. I don't need something new. I don't I don't need it. I like my OLED. The screen's way bigger than the regular Switch.
Yeah.
So,
That's playing all the games you want to play on it right now, right? So,
yeah. Yeah. And I wasn't. I don't play it a lot to begin with.
Right.
So
You're a
I
PC
didn't
gamer.
see, yeah, PC and PlayStation.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't see a need to get it
Okay.
because I wasn't playing much.
Gotcha. So, as we said before, you're excited about the Animal Crossing update coming in January. That's going to be available on both Switch and Switch 2. So you don't have to get a Switch 2 for that.
Mhm.
Um, unless you really want that mouse control ability in Animal Crossing, then you'll need
Mhm.
that for Switch 2. But is a Animal Crossing New Horizons 2, we'll just call it, would that be a reason why you would want to Switch 2 if that was exclusive for that? Or
Yes.
would that depend on, obviously it would depend on a lot of things for that game too, but
Yeah.
okay. But yeah, you would be
I
like,
think I would get it
okay.
if there was like Animal Crossing specific for just the Switch 2.
Mhm.
I probably would get it. Same with like like a Zelda game. I probably
Okay.
would get it as well.
Okay. Or even maybe a Pokemon game because you played I think most of the Pokemon games on the Switch, right?
I played Sword
Okay.
or Shield. One of those two. I can never remember. I
Yeah, you
played
have
that
one of
one.
those, right? Yeah, because I have the other one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I really like that one, and I have not recently, but I've gone back and played that one. I want to play the other ones,
Hmm.
like more Pokemon games. It's just I don't like story games that much.
Okay. It's understandable. Well, maybe there will be a Pokemon game when that 10th generation comes out. Maybe that'll entice you as well to come jump on the Switch 2.
Maybe.
Or maybe it's a combination of this whatever those two games comes out with a Switch 2 Lite version. Maybe you'll opt for that. I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe.
When that time comes, we'll
Maybe.
get you back on the show and see why you decided to get the Switch 2.
Okay.
But again, you're not the only one who's kind of been on, like I'm gonna wait for my time with the Switch 2.
Yeah.
There's been plenty of other people who do that, and I've had people at my work ask me, "Hey Tim, should I get a Switch 2?" And my question has always been to them whenever I get asked that question is, here's what's out. If you're playing, for Nintendo's published games only, because you can
Mhm.
play all the other games that are coming to the Switch too on other systems most of the time. So it's going to be basically you're playing it for the Nintendo published games. So is it for a Mario game? Then you're probably not going to want it now because you're waiting for that Mario game. Is it for Animal Crossing? No, you're going to wait anyways. Again, too, even when that upgrade comes, unless you really want that mouse control, you can still play on your Switch, original Switch. Um, and there's no Animal Crossing 2, you know, out yet. So it just
Mhm.
depends on what games are it. Is it just you want to play every new Nintendo game, even the Switch 2 exclusives? Then yes, you're going to want to Switch 2. Because not only that, you'll be able to play those, you'll be able to play the other Switch games that may have Switch 2 editions of those games, like Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. You can play those fancier versions on the Switch 2. And so
Those
if
fancy versions.
yes. So there's those aspects. So it basically comes down to that question. Why do you want to switch to? For me, it was an answer of even if I wasn't a Nintendo dad or on this podcast, I still would have got it day
Mhm.
one because I am a Nintendo fan. That is my first console that I go to play games. And so I want the latest and greatest version. So even
Mhm.
though some of the Switch 1 games, yeah, I can play on the Switch 2, aren't necessarily impacted like tremendously by being on the Switch 2, there is a slight advantage of being able to play it on the Switch 2. And then there's the some people want to upgrade their Switch 1 games to Switch 2 editions if it's available, pay that extra $10. I've done that because I want to play those Switch 2 editions and that because I want to experience how much that hardware pushes it. People like Nintendo. He came in and said, I'll read his quote here. Uh, the hardware is great, everything and more I was hoping for. The software has been iffy, some meh, some awesome. The paywall to be able to play your old games with Switch 2 features sucks. I haven't bought any upgrades and I won't. So,
So you have to pay to upgrade games.
not all of them. So,
Not
not
all of
all of
them.
them require you to pay. Um, there are certain ones that do. Like if you don't have an NSO membership, you have to pay for the Breath of the Wild Tears of the Kingdom updates.
Mm,
Um, if you have NSO, then you don't have to pay for those. That's part of your NSO membership. You can upgrade those for free. Um, there's like it'll tell you if you a lot of games, even third-party games will tell you when you go to that page if there's a game that you like, it'll tell you Switch 2 edition. You click on that, it'll tell you okay, it's
mhm.
going to be $10 to update it, $5 to update it, or $0 to update. And it just depends on how much did they put into the game to do that. Um, so it's been actually a mixed bag
Interesting.
too. So it's like depends on how much development time it took them and how much they had to work they had to put into it, and then you'll know
Yeah.
that if they're going to charge you or not. Others have just been like, here's a free update, because we only did like a little bit to get it
Mhm.
upresed or with mouse controls or something like that. But um, there is there are different options for that to update your Switch games, and not all Switch One games have an update. So you also have to go look in the eShop to see, hey, can I? Most of the games you should be able to run. I haven't run into any games where I can't run those old games. There are older games though you can't run on the Switch too. So if you like, say, if you're a huge fan of Labo, you don't want to. You're not going to upgrade, or you're going to keep
Mhm.
your Switch One to play Labo games on, and then you Switch Two to not
Yeah.
play Labo games on, or Ring Fit. There's a ton of people out there who have Ring Fit. You can't play Ring Fit on Switch 2 because it uses the original Joy-Cons.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know because the Ring uses the slides on the Joy-Con.
Mhm.
So until they come up with an adapter or something for that, or a Ring Fit 2, which I'm sure they will, um, there's all that kind of stuff. So there's a small list. It's getting smaller and smaller of games that aren't compatible with the Switch 2, or you have to pay for a Switch update. You can still play the Switch 1 version on the Switch 2. You don't have to update, but if there's some Switch 2 features you would like that they're offering, then it's up to you whether you want that paid update for. So that's a good question. Any other questions?
Not right now.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna play a video from Marty on what his feelings were on the first Switch update. Where did it go? Shoot, I had it all queued up and I accidentally closed it all.
It crashed.
Yep. And it changed my order now. So now I gotta go backwards. All right, share the screen and I'll play it here. All right. Let me know if you can't hear it again, Sophie, if that's a problem. Okay, here we
Okay.
go.
So, first 6 months with Nintendo Switch 2, I would say phenomenal. Uh, there's so many good things I could say about the system, but I'll condense it down to just hitting a few points. Physically, system is 100% better in so many ways. The size of the screen, size of the Joy Cons, feel of it in your hand. Um, Everything feels premium about Switch 2, and it feels like a worthy upgrade. Launch titles that have come out, and we talked about on the show this week that Metroid Prime 4 pretty much closed that launch window. If you look at it, we got a brand new Donkey Kong game, a brand new Metroid game, a brand new Pokemon game, and a brand new Mario Kart game, and a brand new Zelda game all within 6 months. So it's been a phenomenal launch. The games have been fun. Sure, they've had their issues, but this is new Nintendo. They're stepping into something great, something new, and really trying to follow up from Switch is nigh on impossible. It, you know, the lightning in a bottle was what Switch was, and for them to try to replicate it would have been wrong. For them to try to, just do the same thing over again wouldn't have worked. What they're doing is working. There's been some missteps. Pricing has been a misstep. The pre-order process was a misstep, but I think overall, I'm sitting here 6 months later, extremely pleased with my Switch 2. It goes everywhere with me, just like my original Switch did. There are games that I'm excited about playing that have been on other systems that now I'm going to get to play on Switch 2. Final Fantasy VII Remake, I'm looking at you. Elden Ring, I'm looking at you. And I think the future's bright. I can't wait to see what Nintendo's going to do in 2026. Um, I do wish that the tariff situation had not been such a huge stumbling block. But it seems like most of the people who complained about that in the beginning ended up getting a Switch 2 anyway. So funny how that works. And so I don't regret standing in line for it at midnight and having to leave at 8 a.m. the next day for a work trip. I don't regret any bit of it at all. And so here's to the next 6 months and the next 6 years. So far, it's been a fantastic ride.
Nice. All right, we'll save Jesse's for just a moment here. Um, but yeah, so there's Marty's perspective on it. Pretty positive side things. We all know there were some bumps in the road for Nintendo Switch 2, just like any launch usually has. There was even bumps for the Switch 1. Just, everybody was kind of hesitant to pick it up, and it was all about us fans, I guess, who were first buyers of the system sharing it with everybody else. Like, hey, check this out. Let's play a game. And people seeing it actually working as it's advertised. Being able to take it out of a dock, play it in hand, and then dock it back up and play it on your TV was just mind bending. It was like awesome tech. So
And now it's like everyone has something like that.
right.
Like
And it
Steam
was
Deck.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's like it
Yeah.
impacted the industry so much that now we've got all
Mhm.
these it's now its own category now, handheld gaming.
Mhm.
Bigger than even Nintendo had when they came out with the Game Boy. Everybody still tried to, compete with that, but now everybody's more or less not necessarily competing with Nintendo. It's more like catering to those exclusive groups. So like you got your
Yep.
Steam fans, right? Everybody's playing on Steam. It's like why not be able to play that on the go with here you go, here's a Steam
Mhm.
Deck. And then there's obviously there's going to be other companies trying to get in on it. So like you got your Windows handhelds. Um, and even between those two, you can actually pretty much, if you know what you're doing, can have both of those experiences on the same device. So if you have a Steam Deck, there's a way to play Windows, Xbox, Epic games by having boot up a separate OS. And vice versa. If you
Mhm.
have a Windows handheld, you can have it, the Windows is your main, but then you can boot up a Steam OS. So there's, and believe me, I've looked at it before. It was one of the things I was looking at myself before I got my desktop computer, my mini PC. I was looking at the handheld PCs, considering that, but a lot more higher end, so I could use it for doing stuff like this.
Mhm.
But that's another topic for another day. For being able to have that as my second handheld system is a Steam Deck or something. But yeah, there was Marty was very positive on it. So I'm trying to think what else. Let's go into. Actually, we're just gonna jump into Jesse's here real quick. So share my screen, get that going here, and play Jesse's response.
Greetings, this is Jesse. Um, Tim asked me to say some my thoughts about my first 6 months with the Switch 2. Um, well, like, I can start with I probably haven't played as many games as I wanted to, but I literally haven't touched my OLED Switch since I got the Switch 2. I haven't been playing nothing but Switch 2. I haven't even touched my PlayStation or Xbox in almost a year. So Switch 2 definitely has been my go-to system. Um, so I've the games I did play, I enjoyed. Uh, just kind of in general, I think Justin may go with the numbers as well, but I'll dive into numbers. Uh, Last year, so Switch One's first year sold a little more than 17 million in its first year, or 13 months, since it was that's after the end of the first full fiscal year. The Switch 2 in the first 4 months already sold more than 10 million units. In Japan alone, they sold 3.3 million units, which is more than the number of Wii U's sold in Japan in its lifetime. So, will Switch 2 outpace Switch 1? They're on track to. We won't know that until early May. Uh, we won't know what the holiday numbers look like until early February, but it looks like it's pretty likely. In terms of the games put out, really, Switch has had just about everything we would want other than a Mario game. We wouldn't have expected a Zelda game with Tears of the Kingdom not being too long ago. But we got a Donkey Kong game instead. And a lot of people like that more than a Mario game. It's just a different type of play for a different type of character, and that's fine. So again, I really don't have any arguments or complaints about the Switch 2. I've enjoyed it, and I know I'll continue to enjoy it as this generation goes on. Again, we're still in year one, of which will likely be at least 7 or 8 years. We'll be here a while. Uh, Hope that answers your question, Tim. Thank you, and I'll talk to you later.
It does. It does answer my question. And I think that was great that Jesse brought up some numbers too. That points out a lot of things that I know there's a lot of people who are not feeling like Switch 2 is doing well, but the numbers are proven otherwise that it is actually selling well. The trick is it going to continue to do well? And that was what a lot of people were worried about with the first Switch. We knew all the Nintendo fans were going to buy into the next Nintendo system. It's the same with Switch 2. You're going to get a lot of those fans. You're going to get a lot of fans, new fans from the Switch who are ready to buy the next version of a Switch, which is the Switch 2. So there's a lot of those numbers. Now it's a matter of getting those 150 or 160 million people who have a Switch to convince them to buy a Switch 2. How are you going to do that? Is it going to be games? Like we talked about, it could be the Animal Crossing crowd. They're going to buy it then. It's going to be the Mario crowd. It's going to be them. You know, big numbers for that when there's a new Mario game. So that is, and I think there's a lot of thought into that we don't get to see until much later, which is Nintendo has to make sure all their ducks are in a row, making sure all of the Nintendo fanatics are going to have their Nintendo Switch 2s. All the kinks in the manufacturing are done. All of these tariff things, questions and all that are out of the way. We know what the actual price is and maybe it's not fluctuating so much. They'll have to figure out the RAM issues that we have going on with AI taking all the RAM from all the systems. So that's going to affect manufacturing as well, but that maybe they already have a bunch built up. But all of that comes into that planning to figure out the numbers, and so far the numbers are good. But they also have to have software to get people who are on the fence about getting that Switch 2 like we've talked about, what is that game that's going to make Sophie buy the Switch 2? It's that game that's going to buy that guy at work who asked me about it, buy a Switch 2. Because right now everybody's content with a Switch 1. A lot of people are content with the Switch 1. But
I
Nintendo,
didn't think it was doing as well as it was,
it
or it
is.
is.
Yes,
Yeah.
it
I
is doing
haven't
very well.
seen, like, I feel like I saw so much more stuff about the Switch, just the regular Nintendo Switch first one. I feel like I saw a lot more, like, videos about it on social media about that sort of stuff. But I don't see a lot of stuff about the Switch 2.
Okay, that's good
So
to
I didn't
know.
think it was doing that well.
Well, there is a big difference too between 150, 160 million people having a Switch versus 100 or 17 million people potentially having a Switch
Yes.
right now, or less than
Yes.
that. Maybe I don't remember the exact numbers. It might not be 17, but it's 10 million, 12 million, somewhere around there. Um,
Hmm.
Still a good number. Maybe it
Yeah.
was 17. I remember hearing I forget the
It was
numbers exactly.
17 for the first Switch and 10 in the first 4 months for the
Yes.
Switch 2.
Thank you. Yeah. So,
Yes.
and
That's
yeah,
pretty
so
close.
that's pretty darn good for just the first 4 months.
Yeah.
And like Jesse said, we'll find out more in February, early February, on how well the holidays went for Nintendo. We might get a little
Yeah.
sneak peek of data here and there, but
Hmm.
we'll see. But speaking on the business side, let's listen to Justin and what he had to say.
Hey folks, what's going on? Justin Masson here with Nintendo Dads. Tim asks, hey, give me a 2-minute video about your thoughts on the Nintendo Switch 2 6 months later as a gamer. And I'm going to be pretty honest with you. This might come as a shock. I love it. I am absolutely loving my Nintendo Switch 2. It is exactly what I wanted, for the most part, for the Super Switch to be. It feels more grown up. I will say this is where I have done since I've received the Switch 2, this is where almost all of my gaming has occurred. I have gone back to play my Nintendo Switch OLED when there were games that were not Switch 2 exclusive, so to say. And the old Switch feels like a Fisher Price toy. If I'm being sort of honest, it feels smaller. This feels more grown up. It feels more mature than Nintendo Switch 2. It feels more of a premium product. I've loved the games that have been coming out for it. Absolutely, I have been. Donkey Kong, Metroid Prime 4, Mario Kart World. There's been some fantastic games. There are definitely games I want to play. Hollow Knight, Silk Song, obviously. Hades 2, right? And then let's talk about the third-party games that all of a sudden have shown up now. Now I'm playing games like Cyberpunk 2077. Are you kidding me? Bruh. Right? I'm playing Star Wars. I'm playing Assassin's Creed. These are amazing games. I'm loving my time as a gamer with the Switch 2. Are there some things I don't necessarily love about it? Yeah. Was the camera necessary? I don't really think so. I don't really use it that often, and yeah, I just don't think it was great. I'm not loving necessarily the game key card aspect. I understand it, but I don't love it. And let's also talk about I would have loved more hard memory as opposed to micro SD. But for me, Justin Masson, the gamer, in 2025, I love my Nintendo Switch 2 and I'm excited to see what 2026 has for it. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.
So we got to watch them, and he reminded me of a couple things. One, the Switch 2, well, that bump in the road for that is the express SD cards that you have to have for extended memory on the Nintendo Switch 2. A lot of console companies, or a lot of companies like Nintendo, like Sony or Xbox, but mainly Sony and Nintendo, have to be careful with that proprietary. It's not necessarily proprietary now, but it's close right now because not a lot of people are making the express SD cards, and they're hard to come by and they're expensive. Um, so that's an additional cost to expand the memory of your Switch 2 that you may not have planned for. Like $100 extra if you want to add 256 gigs of space. And then if you want to add even more, if you're trying to get up to the terabyte section, we're not even there yet. I don't even think they make an express card with 1 or 2 terabytes yet. So the most I've seen on the shelf is 512 megabytes, and that's $150 now, right now. So it's expensive to upgrade your memory on the Switch 2 right now, and that's a con for a lot of people, including myself. It's like, but I try to spin it positively by saying, okay, this allows me to stay focused on the games I have on my Switch 2. I can keep them in the cloud, download what I need to download. They're just not readily available when I need them. But I don't travel a lot, so I
Mhm.
don't have to worry about that. If I need to switch a game out, I just delete it and go on my home internet and upload what I need right then and there. So that part doesn't affect me as much as some other people who may travel a lot and like to have all their games on their system on hand right then and there. So they don't have to worry about downloading at the hotel, Wi-Fi or something like that. So that is a con for that side of the Switch too. But again, it's just a matter of just being thinking of those things when you decide, do I need a Switch 2 now? So I imagine there's going to be a trickle of people. There's going to be certain games that are going to come out that they more and more numbers build up as people are like, "Yep, that's the game I want." And then also I think what's going to affect that is that number, that price for the Switch 2 itself and the express cards. If the price of memory goes down, then more and more people may like want to jump in on that. Or even if it was something that there's a 2 year iteration, maybe, or third year iteration of the Nintendo Switch 2 that says, okay, now instead of the built in 256 gigs of memory, you'll get 512. We'll see. Um, all those things are going to be factors in what Nintendo's decisions are and being able to get those numbers up. And we can't forget also the special edition systems that comes out every now and then. So Sophie, you've known me to go and like trade in my or give one of you
Yes.
guys one of my
Yes.
systems so I can get the newest one that has like
Mhm.
some cool design on it. So
Yeah.
so maybe that's how you get your Switch too, Sophie. I sell you my current one so I can get that awesome new upgrade or
That special one, yeah.
something. So lots of good feedback from the other dads on that. I got some more feedback from our community. Some long thought out good responses in regards to the first 6 months of the Switch. That again gives a wide gambit of feelings, opinions on how the Switch 2 did. So let's start with Hoots here. This I'll have to read. There was no video recorded on this one. Hoots in our community said, Switch 2, a lot of thoughts. Get ready. As for what Nintendo's good at, they continue to be really good at it. First party software wasn't as strong as the Switch first one's launch year, but they were probably never going to top that anyway. And they made up for it by updating some of the best Switch 1 games, taking advantage of the hardware. So Nintendo still got what made us fans in the first place. Also, Mario Kart World is technically better than 8, despite what my kids and the internet would have you believe. Admittedly, it did take me some time for me to realize it. Ironically, this racing game where you go fast to win is actually at its best when you slow down and appreciate the world they created. We will be playing this game for 10 years and on. So maybe don't try to cram all that content into months in a month's time before the next game comes out. But now it's time for the other shoe to drop. It feels like Nintendo has gotten even worse regarding the things that Nintendo has always been bad at. When you consider all the perceived increased litigations, the poor communication, the price hikes, and just about any other headline worthy update not related to their games, it feels like Nintendo has done nothing this year but cash in on all the goodwill and new fans it gained from last generation. And most egregious, excuse me, of all of is their implementation of virtual game cards, which they applied to last generation's hardware as well. I've said it here before, but they are absolutely not getting enough negative attention surrounding this change. Never forget. So again, this is what I was talking about in regards to there's it's basically love-hate relationship with that game key card system. Um, so there and this is going to be a tough nut to crack for Nintendo and the third parties because this community, Nintendo fans, are notorious for wanting their games physically. And
Mhm.
that means having the whole game on the cartridge, not some sort of digital thing. So even though
Yeah.
you still can trade in that game key card, like you could a regular physical card, it's still not the same for a lot of the Nintendo community. Price hikes alone, Hoots continues. I could probably look past. Everyone's doing it after all. But knowing that the additional income is probably helping fund the extra maintenance of all these initiatives designed to limit or control how consumers engage with their products is what makes the hikes feel so gross. So I'm proud of all of Nintendo's accomplishments, but they've just forgotten how they got here. Maybe not bite-sized thoughts for the show, but hopefully it still gives you guys something to talk about. So Hoots there, I read the whole thing because it was very well said and very well thought out, and again gives your opinion on the fact that I'm sure a lot of people agree with most, if not all, of what you said there. In fact, going on, Zablanc also gave us in our community his thoughts. A lot of good, a bit of bad, but overall I'm happy with it. The hardware is higher tier than I expected. It feels quality in my hands. I love the bigger size, and the magnets on the Joy Cons are fantastic. 6 months in, and the Joy Cons don't wiggle. Amazing. So again, it's a hardware aspect, the quality of it, the all of that stuff that Justin mentioned as well. Got somebody on the same page. Uh, he also says he goes on to say the Pro controller stick feels great and is silent. I kind of despise the shell as it feels too slippery in my hands. I miss the grip and texture of the Switch Pro controller, the first one. Um, so maybe some improvements there for Nintendo to do. In terms of software, Mario Kart World was a letdown for him, he says. I dropped off it fairly quickly, as apparently did everyone else. I don't know. I think I've seen more of what Hoots has been seeing. People are kind of growing on them. They're taking their time with it. And Mario Kart World has become just is going to be around for a long time.
I still
Uh,
haven't played that one yet.
yeah. Um, let's see where did I leave? He dropped off, and then Switch Tour was neat. The Welcome Tour, but never lasted past monthly mayhem. Dragon Drive died quickly. Donkey Kong Bonanza was a good game. Pokemon was fun. The Zelda upgrades were great, of course, but nothing else captured his attention. My biggest disappointment was the sheer lack of Switch upgrades to Switch 2. I didn't expect it to be a drip feed. Updates to the games that need it, like Mario and Luigi Brothership, Endless Ocean, and Age of Calamity, never came. Too many third party games will likely never ever get an update. I'm currently eagerly awaiting update news about Fire Emblem Three Houses. So there are, like I talked about before, there are a lot of games that will play just fine Switch 1 version on the Switch 2. Switch 2 has a feature that naturally will give it a better resolution without any having to pay for anything. But it's still a Switch 1 game, doesn't have a lot of the Switch 2 features like say 4K or more frames per second or the mouse feature. Uh but then there's those where maybe there's a company that gives you that for free or you have to pay for it. But the blog is saying he feels like there wasn't enough. So we want to keep that in mind. And especially even from first party that they're still missing. Surprisingly, a lot of those later games like Mario, Luigi, Brothership, and Endless Ocean, uh, and Three Houses. And outside of that, I'm heartbroken Nintendo didn't implement a trophy system. It hurts inside. So if nobody knows, LeBlanc has his own podcast, the Daily PlayStation. He's a PlayStation gamer first and foremost, I believe. Uh, And I mean, because he's got a show after all, right? So he loves his trophies. We got other PlayStation people that love their trophies. I'm a PlayStation person. That's my second go to console. I love trophies. Sophie, what do you think about trophies? Are you a trophy hunter?
Don't, not really,
Okay.
because I didn't really play a lot of games that had a whole lot of trophies in
Oh,
them.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
That's true.
so I didn't.
You don't do a lot of the single player games to where you get all
No,
those achieve
where I
those
get
those
trophies.
trophies.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
In the end, Switch 2 is what I always wanted, a more powerful Switch with an eShop that doesn't make you want to pull your hair out and plays Breath and Tears at 60 frames. Mission accomplished. So, obviously, again, not everybody's saying this was perfect, but some people are like, hey, this 6 months were good. Maybe a C, maybe a B. Well, it sounds like. There are other people who are like, no, they could have done better. And then there's other people who didn't even buy it. So, and then finally, we got one last one from Sparky in our community. I echo what Zablock says, pretty much disappointed by the last of upgrades to Switch 1 games as well. There aren't too many WoW games on the system. Developers are still focused on the Switch 1 user base generally. And I just want to.
I Yes, I can hear you now.
That was weird. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah,
Okay. Now I got to figure out if it. Yeah, it's still got my mic. It's still got that. Okay.
your camera's off.
Yeah, I see that, and it's going to be probably not working right. So turn on camera. All right, there we go. All right, the something's going on weird. Still recording though. So
Yay! They're
all
gonna
right.
see my confused face.
It's like what's
I thought
going
I was
on?
going crazy. I was like,
Yep.
um,
But what
that's
I was
funny.
talking about was basically developers are still focused on Switch One, and I was saying Nintendo is switching over to being all Switch Two. No pun intended. So their developers are focused on all Switch 2. They're not going to try to make it work on both Switch 1 and Switch 2 going forward on any new games going forward. Um there's probably going to be a certain point where it's like there's games that have already been planned to do that, so we'll probably see a handful of those, but then there'll be a point to where it's just like it's just going to be Switch 2 exclusives going forward, probably after June, after the 1 year mark, I'm guessing. But anyways, Sparky continues to say, um, still focused on the Switch 1 user base generally and not doing much to take advantage of an extra oomph of the Switch 2. I got the system first day, but looking back, didn't really need to. The system doesn't really have that must have game yet, in my opinion. So, again, everybody's going to have that game. They're like, yes, this is what I want to play on the Switch 2. For me, it was Metroid Prime 4. Since I knew that was coming out, again, if I wasn't doing Nintendo Dads, I still would have got it day one because of not only playing games on the latest and greatest system, but I want to play all the Nintendo games. So that meant I knew the exclusives were there, like Mario Kart World, then eventually Donkey Kong, then eventually those other games, um, like Metroid. Well, no, that's not even exclusive either. But Metroid Prime 4, my choice was okay, if I don't want to play it on Switch 2, am I fine with playing it on the Switch 1, which everybody is. A lot of people are loving it on Switch 1. It's playing just as beautifully there. But for me, I wanted to see what would Metroid Prime look like on 4K TVs. That just how beautiful those games looked in the past, but now getting what everybody else had on PlayStation and Xbox with the high res graphics and stuff like that. And my Metroid game, I had to have the Switch 2, excuse me.
Mhm.
So it's like, yeah, I could have played Switch 1. No, I want to see it on my 4K TV and see how that goes. I want to see it with 120 FPS on handheld or whatever, with all those
Mhm.
options. So I all those years of seeing that, and then now also being able to see that with the 60 frames per second for Breath of the Wild and seeing how well that is in Tears of the Kingdom. So all those years of wondering what it would be like for Nintendo's games to be on those higher resolution systems, now we have it. Now we're going to see this in this generation and see what that's like. For some people, it's not having the system first and then waiting as they get there. It's when it gets here, then they'll get their Switch 2. And I totally understand that. Uh, so, but for me, overall, Switch 2, first 6 months, I've been absolutely happy with it, especially with how I've been able to play with the community with the game share feature or the game chat feature. You don't have to have Discord. If other people in the community have the Switch 2, we have a built-in Discord essentially with the game chat feature. Or, my friend Scott, he's got one and we've been playing Split Fiction and we're using the game chat feature where he doesn't have to jump on a Discord because he doesn't do that kind of thing. I may be more used to Discord, but he isn't. But we just jump on game chat. He gets his screen up, I get mine up. We're playing Split Fiction and having fun chit chatting and joking around and playing that game. And the same with my friends online, that I played that don't live close. The NSO crew. Like we just recently played the Marvel Invasion. We can jump on there and chit chat there if we wanted to. Even though we didn't, I think we had to go into Discord, which was fine. Uh, we have that option though, and other games where we have gone into the game chat feature, it's there. And yes, I am talking about game chat a lot, but that's me and how me and my friends use it, and that is great. So for me, Switch 2, I would say this 6 months is probably a B. It's not an A because I would say Switch 1 2017 was S tier looking back on it. And we'll probably come back and look back at Switch 2 and regrade it. But right now, in the mix of it, I'm going to give it a B. So, any final thoughts on for you for Switch 2, Sophie, before we move on to the next topic?
No.
Okay. All right. So, we talked a lot about the Switch 2, and now it's looking forward. We looked back on everything. Now we're going to look forward not only on Switch 2, but even what we're doing here for the Nintendo Dads. Uh, Starting in 2026, Sophie's taking over Nintendo Dads. Yay, Sophie! No, I'm kidding. That's why she's
Yay.
here. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, it's like our next episode would be recorded on January 1st. So let's talk about that. So January 1st, we'll be talking about our games of 2025, the Nintendo Dads, as I mentioned at the top of the show, as well as the community. So don't forget to submit your top games of 2025 to us in our Discord or in our email. If you're not in our Discord, you can submit them to nintendodads@gmail.com. Let us know what your top games are so we can get that list going and the numbers going for our January 1st episode. Uh, we'll have a reveal the results then, as well as our top 10. The following episode, January 8th, 2026, will be our predictions show where we talk about where we rate in our predictions for 2025 and who gets that belt.
It's
I've
a
been taking a
big bill.
yeah, I've been taking a peek at those, and as you see, I don't have the belt behind me anymore because I have a feeling it's not going to be me winning the belt this time. And I'm going to have to ship it off to somebody, and I have a feeling it's going to be somebody we are not expecting. That
It's gonna be
nobody.
me.
Yep. Again, that's why you're here, Sophie. You're taking over the Nintendo Dads at 2026. So you gotta keep an eye on that too for January 18th. We're gonna see if my preliminary review of the numbers looks right, and we're gonna get a new champion in 2020 for 2025 predictions, and then we'll also talk about our predictions for 2026. Um, so lots of fun with the Nintendos they're going to have in the first month there, and then we'll also probably have a prediction as to when the first direct will be from Nintendo. When is that going to happen? I think Jesse even jokingly said it's probably going to be February. That's when he's thinking, or somebody did. Um, and then I'm sure in 2026 we'll get more news for sure about Mario, the new Mario movie that's coming out in April 2026. So we'll get to see some new trailers, talk about that, and looking forward to watching it again, talking about that in April. We also get to talk about the Zelda movie news that I'm sure we're going to get more details about. Sophie, do you know anything about the live action Zelda movie? Did
No,
you know that was coming out?
no,
Nintendo is coming out with that. That's interesting. Especially you live in my house and you don't know that. No,
I don't
I
know
must not have
that.
talked about it enough around you. But Nintendo is working with Sony Pictures for a live action
Mm,
Zelda movie. So,
okay,
and they
I
got,
want to see that one.
you'll have to look it up. There's a couple, they got their actor and actress already, you know, for that.
That light. Hmm. It keeps turning off.
That's funny. So yeah, go check that out, and well, I'm sure we'll get
I
more
will.
Zelda movie news in the 2026. And then there's going to be all the games that I mentioned earlier that we know about, and then of course new games that we don't know about when that first direct drops in 2026. What's going to be in that first 6 months happening for Nintendo? What games will be dropping for them? We'll get more information on that. So lots to be excited about, and also to see how Nintendo picks up the momentum for the Nintendo Switch 2. And what is that game that's going to be announced for people to be like, that's the game I need a Nintendo Switch for, Nintendo Switch 2 for. And then of course we'll get back to doing the guess the arcade game that Jesse's been doing that a lot of people have been talking about. It's been awesome to see the feedback for Jesse's game and also see all of your guesses on those arcade games he's been playing music for to see if you did well or not. So cool stuff. Is there anything you're excited for in 2026, Sophie? Is there a game coming out then that you like, a new PvP or whatever that you're into that you want to looking forward to?
Nothing new is coming out for the games I'm playing right now.
Okay,
Not that I
gotcha.
know of.
All right, we're gonna talk about the games you've been playing shortly when that segment comes up. But
Okay.
because everybody's probably like, what games does she play? So we'll talk about that in
She
a minute.
doesn't like story games. What does she play?
Yes. So all right, let's where oh my soundboard disappeared. No. That's what crashed. My
Um,
soundboard crashed. So hopefully I can bring this up without making anything else crash. That's not good.
uh-oh.
That is not good. Oh wait, I know what it is. Let me quit that there. Oh, technical difficulties here. Technical difficulties. Restart that. There we go. But it's not connecting. What is going on? No. All right.
No.
Oh, can I play it through my computer here? Let's see what happens
Just
if
don't blow my eardrums out, please.
I'm gonna try not to. So
Okay.
what we've been playing is here. So let's play it. Can I play a preview? No, no, can't play a preview from here. Okay. Um, Sophie, what kind of music can I play? Oh, you know what? I got the soundboard here. Watch your ears. Watch your
Uh-oh.
ears. I'm gonna do this one, this sound one. So there we go. We got the Wii Shop music going there. Hopefully we don't get copyright strike for that. Um, but
I
there
hope
we're gonna
not.
talk about what we've been playing. So Sophie, since you're my guest, you get to say what you've been playing. What do you play with your friends? What game are you into right now?
Right now, it's been Escape from Tarkov, and we're getting back into GTA.
Okay. GTA, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, very cool. So,
That's just been in the last couple days
okay.
with GTA.
What was that like getting back into GTA, going back to your garage and your millions and millions of dollars that you've had?
Well, it's I don't have millions of dollars on here because I'm playing it on my PC instead of my PlayStation this time.
Okay.
So all my stuff is on my PlayStation. So
Okay.
I'm broke on here on my PC. So it's very weird because I'm used to going on my PlayStation playing it,
Right?
and I have all this stuff, and I don't gotta worry about money. Goof off. But now I gotta grind the game again to get my all my stuff again.
So there's no crossplay? So
No,
there's
there's
not. Oh,
not.
okay. That
Yeah,
sucks. So
it does.
GTA and what else did you say? GTA 5 and what else?
Escape from Tarkov.
Escape from Tarkov. What is that?
It is a first-person shooter game.
Okay. I'm looking it up so I can see what that is. Tarkov. With a V? Tarkov?
Yes.
Escape from Tarkov. Okay. Oh, I think I've seen this before. Okay, multiplayer first-person tactical extraction shooter video game developed by Battle State Games for Microsoft Windows. It's set
Hmm.
in a fictional fictional Norvinsk region in northwestern Russia, where a war is taking
Hmm.
place between two private military companies. Cool. So what is it? Is it a good game compared to other PvPs you play?
It is
Is it
a
squad based?
lot.
Okay.
You can have squads, but you don't have to. You can like have like one, two, three, four, five. I think it's at most five. I think in a team,
Okay.
but you can play. It's very hard to explain because it's not like any game. It's like its own category. I feel
Okay.
like it's not a game I've seen before. It's not similar to anything.
It does sound like something I don't think I've ever heard you play before. So where it's more tactical, right? Where you guys have to be work together to do these extractions or do these missions, right?
Yes,
Okay.
and it's realistic in like the sense of guns. Like they're real guns. Like they exist in real life and all the parts exist in real life and you build these guns.
Okay.
It's very there's a lot going on in that game.
Understood. All right.
Mhm.
You'll have to show me what you're playing sometime.
Okay.
See what that's like. Or let me sit in if you guys are got a way to watch it or
I'd
something.
love to see you play that game. You would be like, oh my God, what's going
All right, yeah.
on?"
Probably wouldn't do very well. You know what'd be cool is if there was ever a game where it was like this real life stuff, like the tactic stuff,
Mhm.
um, but you could play a reporter who, you wear the reporting badge. You don't have any guns. You're just going in.
With
Recording.
your microphone.
You gotta record and report out on the situation while everybody else who's actually playing, like you and your friends, are actually
Mhm.
shooting and like it will like there's an effect to anybody who takes out a reporter, like a bad effect to anybody who does
Mhm.
that. So um but it's got to be a game balance to it, obviously. So, but I wonder
Hmm.
if if any of these games would do that. That would be kind of interesting, so that somebody could actually come in and spectate and actually have some sort of gameplay a little bit there as they're doing some sort of reporting for
That would be
gameplay.
funny.
That would be kind of funny.
I will say I'm playing the PvE one, not the PvP.
Okay,
So there's PvE and there's PvP.
that's
They
right.
also have arena. So
Okay,
PvE is against like bots and stuff,
yes.
and then PvP is player versus player.
That's right. Yeah, because if you're doing tactical, it's usually it's basically co-op missions against a campaign, right? So that would be PvE.
Yeah,
Okay.
but PvP is terrifying.
I bet it is. There's a
It's
lot of people that
I'm
take tactical games seriously. So yes.
yeah. I will not play PvP. Mm-mm-mm.
I don't blame you. I don't
It's
blame you. You
scary.
like more of the arcadey type, PvP, PvE type stuff, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Cool. Uh As for the other dads, I only got a report from Jesse that he's still playing Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D remake. I think I actually saw a post that he rolled credits on that, if I'm not mistaken. But if you want to know more about that, of course, we have that going on in our Discord, what's going on with all of our dads playing different games, as well as other members of the community. Lots of discussions about different games there. So it's not just about these games we're playing, it's about what the community is playing. And of course, I'm playing when I can more Metroid Prime 4 or beyond. But since it's only been technically 3 days since we recorded the last episode, I haven't had a chance to jump into Metroid Prime 4 more since I talked about it there, where I still left off in the desert. And I'm still trying to head over to the volcano area. So I'm hoping to be able to do that more so when I go on Christmas vacation. So I want to finish that. I got to finish Pokemon Legends ZA because I have 2 more grades to get there and probably some little bit of post game stuff. And there's the DLC that just came out for that too that I want to dabble in. Um, so I'm looking forward to that. And I think we have a DLC for Pokemon Legends ZA, a first look of that out by Hoots. So go check that out if you want to know more about that. Um, So yeah. And if anybody's interested in hanging out during the Christmas break, if you got off or anything like that, or you want to do a game, just again, let us know in the video in the comments or come in our Discord and come into the Let's Play channel and say, hey, I want to play Fortnite or I want to play Mario Kart World or I want to play Kirby Air Riders, which is a fantastic game that we need more people to play. So come check that out too. All right, that's it for what we've been playing. Again, my soundboard is broken that I had just on a minute ago. Don't know what happened to my stream deck, but if you're looking in the video, it's blank. It's not supposed to be
Oh,
blank. There's supposed to be buttons here. Like, see, it just flashes. It's
what in the
broken.
world?
So, gotta figure out what's going on. Oh, boys. Anyways,
PC
I will
stuff.
play. Watch your ears, Sophie. I'll play another tune here. Let's go with for the community spotlight. We're gonna go with
Hey, listen.
Hey Listen. There we go. Community spotlight.
I like that one.
Uh, we've already talked about before. It's been recently. We're winding down Extra Life 2025, which means, believe it or not, we will be starting to get 2026 going for Extra Life. We usually jump into the tabletop stuff in April, and then again in November, we're gonna do the video game stuff to raise more money for the kids for our hospitals, local hospitals. So stay tuned for more information on that. And I just want to say, for this probably being the last episode of the year, thank you very much to the community for listening to us, the Nintendo Dads, for 11 years now. We're going to be going in our 12th year. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for all of you that listen to us on your podcast, in YouTube, or on Twitch, or wherever you listen to us. And maybe you don't listen to us anymore, but you happen to be listening to this one. Thank you for still hanging out with us in Discord and being a part of our community. It was one of the great communities on out on the Discords to hang out in. Uh, there's no toxic environments here, just like it is for Retrologic, which is another one of our family of podcasts. They have a wonderful community as well. We have great communities depending on what type of gamer you are, essentially. So, but for us specifically, Nintendo Dads, we try to say it as best as we can each and every episode, but we can't say it enough that we thank you so much for subscribing to us one way or another, sharing or talking about us in one way or another, coming to hang out with us when we're streaming, coming to listen to our podcast, coming to leave comments, coming to do stuff in Discord. All of these things mean something to us one way or another. And so thank you. And if there's any way you can bring any of more friends to let them know that, hey, we're not a cult. We just like to play games. We're just a bunch of dads who like to play games. And you don't have to be a dad. You can be a 20-year-old young lady. You can be a 17-year-old kid. Uh, you can be an uncle, an aunt, a parent, a grandparent, uh, a brother or sister. All of those different things. Is if you're a fan of games, we hope you come check us out. And just know that yes, we like to talk things from a dad perspective, but we also love hearing about other perspectives as well because it helps us learn about those other perspectives. All right, enough of that. Hopefully, I got it across that we love you guys and appreciate you guys. So, with that, I wish I could play the closing music, but I can't. But I will just say again, a huge thanks to all of you that helped us one way or another through 2025 and hopefully continue to do so in 2026. Like our Patreon producers, Dave Ernsberger, Jacqueline Amir, and of course, that anonymous Patreon producer, and plus the other 100+ Patreons, or our 1,490 Twitch followers, or 8,291 YouTube subscribers, or our 12 Twitch subscribers, or any of those numbers out there that reflect that we have so many people who actually care about and what we say, or just want to hang out, and or just maybe you don't care what we say, but it's enough to get you fired up to say, you know what, I disagree with you, but you guys are awesome. So that works too. Go check out nintendodads.org where you can get a lot of the information we have there about what we do, what we like, other podcasts we listen to, our family of podcasts, our extra life information. All that stuff is there at nintendodads.org, and even our merch. We have merchandise out there, so you can get Nintendo Dads merch by going there to nintendodads.org. You can also support us by going to manscaped.com and using Nindads, Nindads, for that 20% off their products. Um, and you can also email us, nintendodads@gmail.com. Like I said, don't forget to send us your top games of 2025 at nintendodads.com. Or excuse me, nintendodads@gmail.com. You can send an email there, or again in Discord. You can leave a voicemail. We haven't got one of those in a while. 92925 NDADS, excuse me. That's NDADS, or 929-256-3237. And a big thanks to OC Remix Music that you get to hear every now and then when Jesse's running things. But download us from your favorite podcast app of choice, and please leave us a 5-star review and a comment, especially on Spotify. We get a lot more information on Spotify because Spotify is agnostic. Doesn't matter if you're using Android or Apple, you can listen to Spotify anywhere, and you can leave a review there. You can leave your 5 stars there, leave your comments there, and we get to see them. Uh, we'll try to stay on top of that as best as we can because we're not used to getting comments. But if we start getting more and more comments, we'll read them on the air because we have a section for that as well in our community spotlight. All right. For me and for my special guest, Sophie, thank you again, Sophie, for joining online with me here. And if you want to hang out with Sophie and her game sometime, let me know and I'll pass the word on to her. For me, for Justin, for Jesse, and for Marty, and for all the Nintendo Dads community, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, and we look forward to hanging out with you in 2026. Bye bye. And I'm so sad because I can't play the outro. Boo hoo hoo hoo. Oh, there's Kelsey saying bye.